Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. So today is kind of an offshoot of last week's video, and it was all about posing couples. So I asked you guys on Instagram what your questions are about posing, and we're gonna jump into that a little bit more today. So I have my phone pulled up and I have the questions. I haven't really looked at them or thought about them yet, so this is going to be a little bit more hopefully just thinking on my feet and giving you guys some feedback that'll hopefully help you when you're shooting. So I'm going to try to pull questions that I didn't really already cover in the first video, so it can give you a little bit more tips and tricks and ideas that I haven't already talked about. So the first question that we have is from meg.rose.photography, and she asked about posing when couple heights are extremely different. So I want to say first off that I usually pose them just like I would pose any other couple. They already know if they have a huge height difference. I know me and my husband have a pretty big height difference of almost a foot, and I know some couples have even more than that. I actually did a session last year. I think their height difference was definitely more than us. It was probably like a foot and a half. But honestly, like, they're already a couple and they already know like how they stand next to each other. They already know how they like kiss each other. Like, so if you just do a lot of the same things that you would do with any normal couple, they already kind of know how to do those things. Think about it. And like, even when I posed a couple where the guy was a lot taller than the girl, he already knew like he would bring his feet wider apart so that he could get down to her level a little bit more. So it's something you can't ask. They might be nervous and not really think about doing that. So if you're having that, you can always ask them, hey, can you like widen your feet a little bit so you can get down to her and look at her a little bit more. You could do cute things like having her get up on her tiptoes to give him a kiss on his cheek. You can also do a lot of fun stuff with him like carrying her, like doing a piggyback ride or like picking her up, because if he's a lot taller than her, he could probably easily do that, like no problem. So you can do a lot of fun stuff with them. Some other things that I'll try to do more of them sitting. So sometimes that can be a little bit easier to get them on the same level. So you can do a lot of different things with this. You can have them sit next to each other. You can have her sit in between his legs. You can have her sit next to him and put her legs over his legs. So you can just do a lot of different things. And honestly, just realize there's still a couple that are in love and that have trusted you to capture them, and they're just like any other couple. And I think that's how I pretty much approach it, and it's worked pretty well for me in the past. Okay, so I got a variation of this same kind of question from several different people, but I'm just going to pull this one from Cassandra Janina Photo. She says, how do you get authentic and genuine smiles and laughter? So there's a lot of different approaches to this. I know for me, my posing style is kind of a blend between more of like an unposed posing style. I'm not totally that direction. I still like some of the more posed stuff, so I still incorporate some of that, but I do like doing a lot of prompts that get more like genuine reactions. Honestly, I've tried in the past. I've tried just telling them like, can you look at me and just like giggle and like give me that laugh, and it just, I don't think it looks as genuine. I don't really love it. So I've gone in the direction of doing more prompts. So I don't go as crazy as giving them a prompt that's going to take them like 10 minutes to think about and like talk to each other about, and like I do things that are a little bit more like fun, and just incorporate a lot of movement. So when people start moving and giggling and laughing and just having a blast, that really helps them to just get more comfortable and to feel more at ease in front of the camera. So when I'm posing people, some of the prompts that I'll do, just to give you an idea, I have them do a lot of walking, have them do some twirling, I have them give her as many kisses as they can in like 10 seconds, and it's always super cute. She starts giggling really hard. I have them sway back and forth, and then I'll tell him to sway her like really dramatically back and forth towards the camera, and then usually she'll start like laughing and giggling. I have them do a lot of fun stuff like that. Sometimes if we do like piggyback rides, I'll have them like, his goal is to try to buck her off, and her goal is to try to hang on as tight as she can. So then they're just like going all over the place, and it's super cute. When they're walking towards me, I'll have them like bump hips back and forth, and they start giggling. So those are just some examples of some things I do. I think about things that, what are things that couples do when they're with each other, when they're laughing and having fun. And those are just some things that I've come up with that I really like to have them do. Another component to this, to making people feel really just like comfortable and relaxed in front of your camera, is how you make them feel. And I talked a lot about this in the posing video that was the week before this. So there's a link in the description if you want to check that out if you haven't yet. But I talked a lot about how to prepare for sessions to make them really comfortable, and if they know the expectations and hint you should have no expectations of them, and you should be giving them all the direction. Take the pressure off of them, let them know you've got them, that they can trust you, and that you are confident in what you're saying. Having that trust built is going to allow them to really relax and be confident in front of the camera. Okay, so Emily Metcalf Photography asked, I feel like I'm always stuck with the same 4 poses. How to create variety and uniqueness? So I totally get where you're coming from. I've totally had this in my business in different seasons where I feel like I'm just stuck. I'm doing the same things over and over again. So I would encourage you to push yourself to try new things. And I personally do a lot of, kind of mentioned, I have those 4 main poses. And if I have a brain fart and I'm not sure what to do next, I know I can go to one of those 4 poses. But then off of that, I usually do a lot of prompts. So I do a lot of things to get them laughing and giggling and get some that are more genuine in front of my camera. So maybe just think about some things that you see couples doing, maybe you and your husband, or other couples that are in your life. Think about what are things they naturally do to interact with each other. And so when I'm putting people into those poses, I'm thinking about, first off, like I do get some of those more posy poses of like them both looking at the camera and then just looking at each other. I do like to do some of those, but then from there, once I've kind of gotten those shots, I'm like, okay, let's think about some ways to make this fun and add movement. Another way to think about it is if you were filming, how would you be like posing your couple? You probably wouldn't have them just stand there still, right? Like if you were doing a movie or a film, you would have them moving in some way. So thinking more like that can help to add some more life back into your photos and help you to feel a little bit more inspired. Maybe even grab a couple and do a free shoot so you can just have no expectations. You can just try a bunch of different things and feel like you're not just having to do things because your clients expect it, right? That can always be super fun to do. It's something that I do a lot. So Olivia Schuring asked how to make them laugh when you're not a funny person or good at jokes. I can completely relate. I am not really a jokester or like, I don't feel like I have a huge sense of humor. I maybe a little bit, but I've never like even caught on to jokes very well. So I'm definitely not the kind of person that can just like make a ton of jokes and my clients are gonna laugh the whole session. So I've had to work a lot harder in order to get like genuine laughter from them. So I talked a little bit about this earlier, but really it's going back to all of that movement that I'm doing and getting them just moving and doing funny things and playing and laughing with each other. It really helps me to get more candid photos and genuine photos of the 2 of them. So that's what I would tell you. It's just incorporate some of those more like movements and prompts that would get some more of that genuine laughter when you're not necessarily a funny person that's just going to crack a bunch of jokes. Another question from Katie Lobs is how to get shy couples to loosen up. So this kind of goes back to making sure that you're doing everything you can to make them comfortable, asking them a lot of questions about themselves, making a lot of small talk, making them trust you because of your confidence. But it also comes back to, I talked about this in the first posing video, about how there's a difference between shy couples and more outgoing couples. And to try not to force shy couples to be outgoing. If they're more of a shy, like quiet, reserved couple, it's okay. That's totally them. You want to capture photos that reflect them and their personality and not force something else on them. So if I have more of a shy couple, I'm usually not doing as many like super energetic, super like upbeat poses. I'm doing things that are a little bit more like soft and romantic and because that fits them more. So if it's more of if you feel like your couples just aren't comfortable with you, then I think shy couples, you do have to work a little bit harder to get them to break the ice and to talk a little bit more. You have to ask more questions before they'll just start pouring out what they're thinking to you. But it's worth it. And that's why I have so much walking time, like in between even different locations or at the beginning of the shoot, so I can really talk to them and get them talking, get them loosened up, even if they are a shy couple. So I would recommend trying that, and I think that'll help you a lot. Okay, so another question that I got is how I pose heavier set couples. I got this question from several different people, so I just kind of want to cover it in general, just like curvier girls, curvier guys, how do you go about posing them? And kind of going back to like the different heights one, I want you guys to pose them just like they are a couple. And just remember, like, they're a couple in love too. Like, just because they are curvier, like, does not mean that you have to completely change the way that you're doing things, right? I think it can be easy to feel like intimidated by that, or like not really sure what you should do in that case. But for me, there are a few things that come to mind that really do help me with that. And one, these are things that I do at every single session, regardless of their size. Like, this has nothing to do with the fact that they're heavier. Before every session, I ask, is there anything that you're more self-conscious of that I should be aware of? And usually even if someone thinks that if they have a certain part of their body that they really, really don't like and they're trying to minimize, then I'm aware of that at the session. I'm aware of what sneak peeks I should choose based on that. So I ask this to every couple, but even to it doesn't matter what kind of couple they are, but if they are a heavier set couple, that is going to help you a little bit in determining, are they super self-conscious? You might have to be a little bit more picky about what you're choosing, or do they are not as self-conscious? I have had couples who are just yeah, that's who we are, which is super awesome. So yeah, I think asking that question can help a lot. Another thing I do is I always bring a step stool, and I do this with 99% of my sessions, unless I forget it, or I'm just moving around way too much, and we're gonna be doing way too much moving, but I bring it to a lot of my sessions, and that's something that can really help. I know someone else asked about flattering poses, and I know if you're really concerned, you have clients who are very concerned about looking flattering in their photos, bringing a step stool is really going to make a big difference for them and help to give them really good flattering photos. So that's something that you can do too. And just remembering they're a couple in love, and it's okay. I usually don't try to do anything too different with my posing. If you think about it, you can do some things that are a little bit different, like the girl coming up and hugging the guy from behind. But I think once you ask that question, open up that dialogue of hey, is there anything I should be aware of? Anything you're more subconscious of? That can give you a lot of direction and a lot of a good direction of where you should go with the shoot. But honestly, just treat them like they're a normal couple in love, because they actually are. They know how to interact with each other. And if you do pretty much the same things that you do with every client, they're going to do it, and they're going to be great. If you do things that normal couples do, like looking at each other and hugging each other and loving on each other, I think you're going to do great. So I try not to worry about that too much, because I think, yeah, you should treat every couple just like they're a couple in love, because they totally are. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it for the Q&A. If you have any other posing questions, feel free to drop them below. I could even do a part 2 to this video if there's a lot of demand for it. So yeah, I hope you guys love this. If you haven't already, check out that posing #1 video, the first video I did on posing. The link is in the description if you want to go check that out, and I can't wait to share more next week with you guys. Bye guys.